beautiful souls, and welcome to a new video. So if you're here today, it's likely because you felt that familiar ache in your chest when it comes to love relationships, that knot in the stomach, that relentless question of what if. You might be constantly asking where you stand or feel an intense pressure to get it right. If that sounds like you, then I think today's video is going to be incredibly helpful for you, because we're going to talk about something that's profoundly helpful for your healing journey, which is anxious attachment, and specifically the 5 subtle but incredibly powerful things that you might be doing that signal that you're living in this anxious state, perhaps without even realizing it. Now, before we dive in, I want to say this with all the compassion in my heart. If any of these signs resonate, it's not a judgment. It's an opportunity for understanding, for healing, and for finally breaking the pattern that no longer serves you. Your pain is real, your desire for connection is valid, and every single one of these behaviors come from a deep-seated need for safety and love. But sometimes the very ways we seek that safety actually pushes it further away. So let's explore these 5 signs together, not to shame, but to empower. First sign is a constant need for reassurance. This isn't just wanting to need "I love you" occasionally. This is a persistent feeling and an aching need for verbal confirmation that you're loved, that you wanted, and that the relationship is secure. So, for example, you might find yourself asking questions like, "Are you mad at me?" even after a perfectly normal interaction. Or you might ask, "Are we okay?" with no clear sign of any conflict. So you might constantly seek validation about your value, your attractiveness, or your place in their life. So you need to see it, you need to feel it, you need to hear it over and over and over again to soothe that underlying fear that at any moment it could all disappear. And when you don't get this confirmation, when it's not delivered in the right way, anxiety kicks in because it confirms your deepest fears. Here's the kicker. This constant need for confirmation, while understandable, it can really feel draining to your partner because it creates the very distance you're trying to avoid. Moving to sign number 2, which is hypervigilance to small changes. Think of yourself as a finely tuned radar dish that's scanning for any subtle change or shift in your partner's mood, tone of voice, or even their texting patterns. So, for example, you might start wondering, did he reply a little bit late today? Is his good morning text less enthusiastic than normal? Did he use an emoji that he doesn't usually use? Even a slight dip in enthusiasm, moment of quiet, or a different routine can send your mind spiraling into a narrative of rejection or impending abandonment. So what you're doing here is that you're trying to predict and prevent the pain. But what you're often doing is that you're creating internal pain from imagined scenarios. Now, this isn't because you're crazy or overthinking. This is your nervous system on alert. It's desperate to detect danger to keep you safe, even when no real danger exists. Now, moving on to sign number 3, which is an intense fear of abandonment. Now, many people fear abandonment to some degree, but for someone with an anxious attachment style, this fear is amplified, it's pervasive, it's often disproportionate to the actual circumstances of the situation. And the reason is because this is the core wound. This isn't just about a breakup. This can manifest as terror at the thought of them leaving, or even being busy, going out with friends without you, or even just needing some space for themselves. You might interpret any move towards independence from your partner as a direct threat to the relationship. This fear can drive you to cling, to sacrifice your own needs, or try to control situations to ensure that your partner never leaves. It's a deep primal fear that stems from early experiences in our childhood. It keeps you in a constant state of unease even when things are going well. Closely related to that is sign number 4, which is struggling to set or maintain boundaries. Because of that intense fear of abandonment, the idea of setting boundaries can feel incredibly threatening to you, because you might fear that if you say no, if you express any different opinion, or if you prioritize your needs, your partner will either withdraw or leave. So what do? You become a people pleaser. You're constantly adapting to your partner's desires, even at the expense of your own well-being. So you might let things slide that truly bother you, or you find yourself agreeing to do things that you really don't want to do, all in an effort to keep the peace and to ensure your partner's continued presence. Ironically, a lack of healthy boundaries can lead to the very disconnection and resentment that you're trying to avoid. Finally, the fifth sign, which is protest behaviors. These are actions that you take, often unconsciously, when you feel threatened or unheard or neglected in a relationship. They are an attempt to re-establish connection to get your partner's attention and reassurance back. This can look like silent treatment, picking fights, withdrawing emotionally to make them chase you, excessive texting or calling, or even threatening to leave because you're hoping they'll beg you to stay. It's a frantic cry for connection. It often manifests in ways that push your partner further away from you, creating a vicious cycle of anxiety and distance. These behaviors, while coming from a place of deep hurt, can be incredibly damaging to the trust in the relationship. So, if you recognize yourself in one or more of these signs, please know that you're not alone. This is not a life sentence. This is simply a map of where you are right now. This was the place I was in years ago. And the great news is that you have the power to reroute just like I did. Understanding these patterns is the first monumental step towards healing your anxious attachment style, moving towards a secure, loving, and truly fulfilling relationship without the constant anxiety. Because you deserve to attract partners who are ready to meet you where you are and ready to grow with you. So if you're ready to stop the cycle of anxious attachment, to understand the roots of these behaviors, and to cultivate a secure attachment that transforms your love life, then I invite you to take the next step by clicking the link in the description below to book a qualifying discovery session with me. This is where we talk one-on-one about your unique situation, where you're at, and to see if we are a good fit to work together on your journey to secure love. This is your time to heal and thrive and finally get the kind of love that you've always craved. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your courage and your willingness to do the work to heal. I believe in you. And remember, you are worthy of a secure love. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself and I'll catch you up in our next video. Bye for now.